Good afternoon, guys. Hope you're doing well. This is the COT data video for the week beginning the 9th of February 2026. We had a crazy week with gold and silver and Bitcoin, and we're very much risk on towards the end of the week. On Friday, the Dow hit the 50,000 mark, which is humongous, and there's going to be lots of bears who are in like a bit of despair, and they're going to probably have a bit of a rubbish weekend because they were short in the Dow and heavily as well, and we carried on higher. Likewise, they're probably going to be undergoing a little bit of stress with the Australian dollar. We see that we really pumped on the Aussie, and we can see that the crowd are short the Australian dollar basket. They're also long yen as well. Be a little bit careful with the yen because we've got the Japanese election. So if we get an outright victory, and it's going to indicate a strong leadership, strong party, and so it might help the yen strengthen a little bit. The crowd aren't long, so we have to remember that. Okay, so what's probably going to happen is that we're going to come into some demand area for a bounce, but we may come down fairly heavily into like a demand, and then it will be a buy. So we might see that yen bubble come down. We haven't been in this section for 6 months longer. I'm not sure why, but the crowd are very long yen, and they have been for a long time. Also, it's just worth noting, when we see price action in like a currency pair or index commodity, what we see is that price retraces. And so, you're expecting things to see some follow through. It may not happen. And this is also indicative of also your performance on your account as well. So if you're doing very, very well, and we can see a retracement on your profit. Okay, so it's really important to know your exit for your stop loss and take profit. So if you've made, say, 5% on the week or 10% on the week, that's insane. That's really, really good. Consider taking profit because what I did, I was expecting to see some follow through on the pound USD, and I had like a large position on it, and of course we sort of retraced, and we did a big 50% retracement, and that move kind of crushed my profits. I was up a lot and it just went up against me. So it's important to have like an idea when to exit for your profit. Okay, so you obviously try and hope that it continues, but it may not, and you don't want to be in that situation where you're up a great amount and then they go against you. Okay, so the thing is with the pound USD, we probably should continue to fall, but we may go up higher, and that's the risk. So why leave that risk on the table? Take your profit. Okay, so this is a quick one there, and we can have a look at the COT data. So don't forget you need to unblock the file, and then you need to enable the macros. Move chart to net non-coms, and then we can see the euros moved, and there we go. So we obviously had the ECB, we had the BOE as well, and the RBA. So it was a pretty bonkers week. So 111 to 163. So we've had a big pump. The dollar is just negative, but if we go positive, that's going to be interesting. Okay. And we can see it was just like lying in wait, and it might pounce. I said this for a while, but it's potential. I mean, it looks like we're sort of looking like we're going to ramp potentially. However, the Euro USD will be tricky because that moved higher and that moved higher as well. Let's have a look at yen, and we can see how the banks and institutions are their positioned. So they are looking to buy. Let's move that off so we can see the data. Okay, so oops, yep, minus 44, minus 19. So if we continue at that velocity, that momentum, we could be above zero, and it could be bullish to yen. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. Now the Aussie was interesting last week because we went positive on the non-coms, so we need to have a look at the Aussie. And the Australian dollar has continued higher, and likewise bring that back to the API Aussie. Right, so strong Aussie, and we had a strong Aussie on the COT data as well. And we're seeing continuation. So It could be a little bit painful if you're short the Australian dollar, but we might get a reversal. We're going to probably hit loads of stops, but the sentiment and the COT data is an alignment for a strong Australian dollar. So just be careful, okay? And 26,000. So we've come off that low, minus 100,000, which is quite heavy, plus 26. So that's quite bullish, okay? And do note that the yen, Aussie, and dollar and euro are moving up higher, okay? Aussie, pound. Pound is also moving up higher. It's not as aggressive as the euro, you'll note. The euro did spike higher. This is moving up higher, but kind of gradual. But we have moved up higher. I'm not sure if I can show you, but you can see it anyway, can't you? Oh, minus 13. So continue at that momentum, then we could go positive. So it's going to be a bit tricky because lots of things are in ascent. They're moving up higher. Okay, so let's see if we can find something that isn't, and we can potentially trade it this week. And Canada, the Canadian dollar has also done the same. We're positive. Okay, and that's the first time that's happened. We have to come back here. Let's come look at the axis. When did we last go positive? That was 2023. So it's a long time ago. So that's a big development on the CAD. So we should be looking for CAD strength, okay? So that's going to be of note. Lots of things are moving up higher, so it's going to be tricky. Just remember that Aussie and CAD are looking quite bullish. And gold. Okay, well, okay, so we're breaking that low. Minus 165, so could be a little bit bearish if we break this, maybe. If we break that low, then we'd have to come back down to this low for support, and then that one, and this is probably the ultimate support here. Break that, we may even go negative, but it's unlikely that's going to happen because central banks have been buying gold, and they're sort of using it as a defense mechanism, against the tariffs and things like that. So as long as they are persisting, we should probably see a stronger gold fundamentally. We did see a very strong resurgence of the USD last week. So that might have come into effect there. And we may see that dollar, that may move up higher. I'd imagine it should because of the strong week that we had. So that's of note. And then New Zealand dollar. Wow, that's moving up higher as well. Okay, negative, and they've moved up higher. So it's no real sort of permutations that we can trade. Everything is moving up, so it's really interesting. And Swiss franc. And yeah, so there we go. We just a little bit sideways on that. We are very, very range bound on the Swiss franc. So I think that's it. Just remember what I said about your account. If you've made like a certain amount of profit, it's not a terrible idea just to like take some risk off the table, and you definitely don't want to do what I did and let it go against you so strongly is that it's almost negated like your week's profit. You don't want to be in that situation where you've made X amount and then it go against you, and then you run the risk of it, going to stop loss, and you certainly don't want that to happen. And so the thing is with the pound USD is that we had a bearish candle on the daily, but we had a big, big retracement on that candle. So even though the daily time frame is very useful, we have to remember that the ebbs and flows on the small time frame, we can do like a mean reversion on that daily time frame. And so it's a little bit uncertain now with the pound USD because we currently are a buy, but we've got the UK politics and potentially sackings and maybe even arrests in the UK government. So fundamentally, it could be a little bit risky. Sentimentally, we are just a buy, but it's 50-50. So be careful with that. If you want access to the sheet, let us know. And you have to go to patreon.com/QuasiDB and select your tier there, and you get access. And just let me know your email address and I'll send you the sheet. So it's really useful, it's really powerful, and don't forget you've got your today's trade setups here as well. which I'm now automating in MT5, and I'm about to report back with the profits over the course of the week. So currently what I'm doing with this is that I'm mimicking the trades that you see in Telegram, but I haven't got any risk management on there. I just want to see how the retail volumes perform without any sort of anything getting in its way. And from Wednesday onwards, we had an okay week, but don't forget we had all that central bank stuff. We had the gold, silver going absolutely bonkers, and we had a very strong dollar, and it had to get softened for risk purposes. So just a quick one there, and then I'll report back with this in Telegram. I'll let you guys know how we're doing, and so that's it. So any questions, let me know. Have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you guys soon.